Run, Hollywood in the house.
What's going on, guys? It's El Tiburon, aka Retro Tiburon, with another pickups video. This little pickups video is going to be different than the other ones because this one is kind of WrestleMania themed, wrestling themed. So this video is being recorded on Sunday of WrestleMania weekend. Obviously, it's not dropping on WrestleMania weekend, but yeah, these were pickups I got during the weekend. Actually, not really during the weekend, because none of these I bought at WrestleMania because I didn't go to WrestleMania, even though it's like an hour and a half from where I live. But these were, I went to some wrestling events the Thursday and the Friday before WrestleMania, so I picked up some non-current WWE merch, but I still wanted to show it off to you guys. First of all, on Thursday, I went with my buddy, Sexy Chino, indie wrestling legend here in SoCal, Sexy Chino. Bought a little beanie from him. This is his logo, a bunny with a backwards cap. So yeah, he wrestles for a promotion out of Burbank here in California called WPW, Wrestling Pro Wrestling. Run by Brian Kendrick, the Brian Kendrick. So I went with him as his +1 on Thursday because the show was sold out. So he took me as his +1. I was kind of there as an extra. And funny enough, I actually got to be part of the show. They had, the name of the event was WrestleMania. Not WrestleMania, WrestleMania. Referring to Russell Crowe. So, you know, wrestling, pro wrestling, it's pretty much like comedy wrestling. So they had like a battle royal where a bunch of different versions of Russell Crowe were in the battle royal. I wound up being one of the extras in that battle royal. I was Russell Crowe from A Beautiful Mind. Maybe I'll pop up a picture here. So I have like this giant brain. But like, you know, really silly stuff. I didn't really wrestle. We kind of, our match got cut really short because some of the matches were going longer. So I pretty much got in there and got destroyed by this 3-headed giraffe monster. But yeah, great time. Wrestling Pro Wrestling. Check it out. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitch. They post their shows on YouTube and Twitch, I believe. So yeah, I bought that beanie from my buddy Sexy Chino. I also bought this shirt right here. This is from another indie wrestler that kind of went viral, Luigi Primo. I think he's based out of Texas, I believe. He kind of went viral on TikTok and, you know, like YouTube, because he's a wrestler that while he's wrestling you, he's tossing around like some pizza dough the whole time. So yeah, he was at the Wrestling Pro Wrestling show. So I had to buy a shirt from him. Really nice guy. Really hilarious character. He kind of actually does look like Luigi too from Super Mario Bros. But yeah, that was night one. That was the first event that I went to where I got some pickups. The next day I went to a wrestling convention, WrestleCon, where they had like a bunch of like the old school wrestlers from my favorite time, like the 80s, the 90s. So they were, you know, selling autographs. They were taking pictures. You were able to buy merch from them. Really fun time for me. Honestly, I didn't end up going to WrestleMania, but to me that was my WrestleMania, going to see like the old school guys. So yeah, went there on Friday morning, and then that Friday night I went to a Ring of Honor show, ROH. I guess I'll show this off because this is all I got from that ROH show. They had the Ring of Honor, what's it called? Supercard of Honor show over at the Galen Center in USC, and I am so out of the loop when it comes to modern wrestling, especially if it's non-WWE. At least with WWE, I watch like highlights and stuff on YouTube, so I kind of know like who everybody is for the most part. But as far as like ROH, AEW, anything outside of that, I don't really know who the hell is who. But yeah, it was a really fun show actually. My buddy Nestor invited me because he's like a big ROH AEW guy. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. I'll check it out, and I'm glad I did because I had a great time. They had like a, what was it, like a cruiserweight opening, kind of like a luchador opening match, where it was for the AAA title. AAA's like a probably the biggest Mexican wrestling company in Mexico. So the opening match was a AAA championship match between El Hijo del Vikingo and Commander. Super cool match. Like like they were doing some crazy stuff in that match. And it kind of reminded me, kind of gave me that nostalgia for, you know, WCW Nitro, when they would start off their Nitros with, you know, the cruiserweights with Juventud and La Parca and Rey Mysterio and those guys. Yeah, so I'm really glad I went there. That was the only pickup, though. I believe this guy's name is Mark Briscoe. His brother recently passed away, like pretty tragically in a car accident, I believe, with other family members in the car too. So really sad. But yeah, really glad I went to that show. Really fun time. Let me see what other pickups. Oh, so then I'm gonna show the morning stuff from the WrestleCon convention, because I got a lot more stuff from there. So these were a couple of VHS tapes I picked up. First one, Global Warfare. I picked this up at the WrestleCon. There was a vendor there. My buddy Sexy Chino went with me, and he's like, man, you should have been here earlier. He had a lot more VHS tapes. I was like, god damn it. But I was able to snag a couple. So Global Warfare, $10. And it's sealed. I mean, I'm going to end up opening it because I want to watch it, but still cool to get like a really minty, old school WWF Coliseum video for $10. See what we got here. So this one, I guess, is like matches from around the world, hence the name Global Warfare. We've got from England, Shawn Michaels goes up against Crush, probably a great match. Mr. Perfect against Head Shrinker Samu. From Spain, we have Bret Hart versus Bam Bam Bigelow. I always thought they had great chemistry, Bret and Bam Bam. The Steiner Brothers against Money Inc., also from Spain. From France, Crush versus Doink. And from Italy, Scott Steiner versus IRS, Erwin R. Shyster. You know, I always kind of hated Erwin R. Shyster. Hopefully Scott Steiner gave him a couple of Steiner screwdrivers. Oh, and also really cool special bonus songwriting with the goat, Jimmy Hart. Love Jimmy Hart. He was the goat when it came to creating music. By the way, speaking of that, cheap plug for my podcast. I just dropped an episode. It would be like a week or two from now, like in the past, where me and my buddy Sexy Chino, we ranked our favorite 80s WWF themes. So check that out, the Retro Wave. Put the website down here, retrotiburon.com. All the episodes are there. Yeah, really cool to have this. Next one I got was Invasion of the Body Slammers. Right away when I saw this, I was like, I remember renting this video a couple times. Little play on Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but Invasion of the Body Slammers because it's wrestling. First off, bowling tips from Kamala. That's gotta be super awesome. Another bonus feature is Repo Cam at work with the Repo Man. That sounds hilarious. Who else do we got? Mr. Perfect versus Ric Flair. Awesome. Two of the best to ever step in the ring. Undertaker versus Papa Shango. Spooky match. Undertaker versus Razor Ramon. I actually remember this match. I remember seeing this match. Kamala versus Doink. Nasty Boys versus the Beverly Brothers. And Tatanka versus Repo Man. Also, Yokozuna versus Earthquake. And Bam Bam versus Typhoon. Brett versus Shawn Michaels. Man, jam-packed. So really, Awesome to own these for $10, minty sealed. Like I said, I'm gonna open them. Ty Lord, if you're watching this, we gotta watch this on Instagram Live one of these days. Let's see what else I picked up. Let me just stick my hand in here. Here are some figures I picked up while there. I got the bad guy, Razor Ramon here. I won't unbox them because that'll take a lot longer, but you see it's Chico with the IC title. Really cool. Can't wait to display this one. Let's see what else we got. All right, yeah, pick this one up there too. Mr. America, Hulk Hogan as Mr. America. Love this. This was when I think he was on like SmackDown, and I believe the storyline was that McMahon fired Hogan. So the loophole Hogan came up with was he came out with a mask and he's like, "Oh, I'm not Hulk Hogan, I'm Mr. America." So really cool. Really like a deep cut. Swig of Red Bull. Swig of Red Bull for WrestleMania weekend. Swig of Red Bull for oily men, oiled up men wrestling in spandex. This one was actually a gift from my buddy Sexy Chino. He got me this one is WrestleMania 18 Hollywood Hogan. WrestleMania 18, for those of you that don't remember, is when Hogan wrestled The Rock, icon versus icon. So really cool to have this. Thanks to Sexy Chino. I know he sometimes watches the video, so thanks again to Chino for this toy. You know what? Let me go grab my belt really quick. Last pickup. I got some signatures on my Winged Eagle belt, my favorite, still my favorite ever wrestling belt of all time. Championship belt. So like I said, I was at the WrestleCon, so they're selling autographs, pictures and stuff, and I was able to get a few signatures from some guys that held this title. And that's the thing with me, I only want signatures from the dudes that actually held this specific belt. Because you know, I've gone to other like wrestling conventions where people will take like this belt, for example, and they'll have like Marty Jannetty sign it, and I'm like, why the hell would you have Marty Jannetty sign this? He never won this. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong, I love Marty Jannetty, but he never held his belt. I think that's just me being nitpicky though. But right here I had before this weekend I already had The Undertaker. He's the one with the crazy signature right here. This was 2018. Far left, my left, Kevin Nash. I had already had that, but the ones I was really looking forward to are the ones you see in the center. Obviously the pink is Bret Hart, Bret the Hitman Hart. So he signed it. He was like super nice. Obviously there's so many people at this wrestling convention because it was based out of they had it in downtown LA, WrestleMania weekend, so the whole wrestling world was here in LA. So super packed. He didn't really have time to like chit chat with anybody, but you know, when he signed it, I was like, "Hey, thanks, Brad." He's like, "You're welcome." So that's good enough for me. Good enough for me. Ric Flair down below, another legend right there. He had to sign this. Even though at the time when he won this belt, it broke my heart because I was such a Hulkamaniac that I hated Ric Flair. But you know, the older I got, I realized, you know what? Ric Flair was just doing his job. That's why I hated him. But yeah, really cool to have Ric Flair's signature. Also there, ooh, it's kind of heavy. This green that you see right here, this is actually Sergeant Slaughter, also at the WrestleCon. Had to get that one since he was there too. I mean, who doesn't remember when Royal Rumble 1991, Slaughter versus Warrior, and Macho King comes out and smashes the scepter over the Warrior's head to help Slaughter get his WWF championship. And I like that he kind of like drew himself. I don't know if you can see it. He kind of like, you see that happy face? He kind of, I didn't realize till today, he put like a hat and a long chin. So he drew a cartoon version of himself. So yeah, really cool. Like, obviously meeting Flair, his line, I think Goldberg was there. So I think Goldberg had the longest line, and then it was Flair. But, you know, he didn't really have time to chit-chat with anybody. You know, so didn't really get to chit-chat with him, but I got his signature. I got Brett's signature. Slaughter, man. Slaughter was freaking, like, super cool, like, super nice, super funny. He put me in the Cobra Clutch. See, maybe I'll put a picture up here. He put me in the Cobra Clutch, and he had me in it for a while, and he's like, "Hey, this guy ain't tapping. Who does he think he is, Hogan?" So then I started tapping, and he let me go. So there you go, there you go. So yeah, really cool to meet him, Flair, Brett. I also got to meet Buff Bagwell. Buff Bagwell was super nice, man. Super cool guy. I wanted to get Lex Luger's autograph, but by the time I went back around to him, he was gone. Who else did I meet? The Nasty Boy Brian Knobbs was there. I wanted to get his signature, but I kind of thought he was kind of charging too much for, you know, being. I mean, come on, the Nasty Boys are awesome, but he was kind of charging the same price as like a Lex Luger, and I'm like, kind of feel like Luger's on a higher level than Brian Knobbs. So I didn't get his autograph. That might be it. That's all I got. Oh, actually, I also bought this hat at the convention. A vintage looking Horseman hat. Really cool. It's not actually vintage, but it has like that vintage look. And what makes it even more special to me is that I actually bought it from Arn Anderson himself. He was selling these hats at his table with who I believe was his son. He had this guy sitting next to him that it must have been his son, because it looked exactly like Arn Anderson, but like in his late 20s. Like, yeah, looked like a mirror image of a younger Arn Anderson. So really love this hat, love the vintage look. Obviously I love hats, being a bald man. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for my pickups. Great weekend. Didn't get to go to WrestleMania, but to be honest, didn't really want to. There were still tickets available in the nosebleeds, but I live about an hour and a half away. The thought of even driving there, looking for parking, paying for parking, and then sitting there for another 6-7 hours, and then driving back home another hour and a half, no thanks. It just didn't appease me. But it just didn't appeal for me, sorry. But I'm actually watching it right now on my TV, so that's cool. I get to watch it from the comfort of my recliner. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's it for the pickups. Just thought I'd do a little fun, like, wrestling themed pickup. But yeah, see you guys on the other side. Laters.